Today we're checking out the wireless in-ear system from Artist Guitars. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel, folks. This is Shane. Today we're checking out something a little bit different. Artist Guitars sent this out. This is the IME8 wireless in-ear monitoring system. And if you're familiar with other brands like Shure, this is pretty similar to that kind of setup, except these are nowhere near as expensive, which is always good. Now, Artist Guitar stuff is mostly available just in Australia, but I'll leave some links in the description below and you can check these out. So a massive thanks for these guys for sending out this particular pack. I appreciate it a lot. So these kind of inner-ear monitoring systems are great for two reasons. One, they protect your hearing by blocking out the acoustic noise, and then you can set the levels within your actual earbuds. And two, very importantly, if you're a singer guitar player like I am, you want to be able to hear your vocal in the mix. And sometimes if you've played at any dodgy venues over the years where they've got really bad fallbacks, you're not at the mercy of their PA system. You'll at least be able to hear yourself. Sometimes I've played at venues where the front of house speakers are way above my head and I can't even hear anything and there's no fallback. Something like this is the ultimate solution for that. So we're going to get into the unboxing of this unit, and I'm going to show you a couple of different ways you can use this if you so choose, and then I'll do a sound sample test and we'll see how it goes. So I've actually been fortunate enough to own two sets of the Shure inner ear monitoring systems over the years. So I'm going to see how well this is built and how it might compare to something like that as well. So let's take a look at everything we get in here. I'll take everything out and then I'll let you know what we've got. Included in the box, we get a power supply, we get a 3.5mm TRS cable, we get a pair of larger jack cables. Included in the package, we also get the earbuds, we also get an antenna, we get the receiver, and we also get the transmitter. Now, the first thing I noticed when I picked this up was it's got a bit of weight to it, which means it feels like a really great quality unit. I'm gonna take this out of here and we'll take a look at it. And it's actually metallic on the tops and sides. And yeah, it feels like a really robust unit. Here's the back of the unit up close. Now, as you can see, we get two microphone inputs, which also double as the jack inputs, which I've actually got. And I'm gonna show you why you might wanna use those instead of just the mic inputs, depending on your type of situation. We also get a little stereo input over here, which is actually the cable that we do get with it as well, right here. So if you wanna run a line signal in, you can do that as well. We also get a left and right output, so we can pass the signal from this into something else if we so choose. And we also get the antenna connector on the back. Before we get into the specs, I just wanted to tell you how great this actually feels in the hand. It's got a bit of chunk and a bit of weight to it. All the pots and buttons and so forth on the front feel really good. Now, this does run on UHF, so this isn't digital. And I used to think UHF was maybe a bit of a downgrade from digital, but it has one clear advantage. Digital either works or it doesn't. If something's stopping the signal, it cuts out completely. With something like UHF, it will always work, but it may fade slightly, but it will come back. But this works up to 60 meters, which is times that by 3. That's how many feet we get, around 180 feet, something like that. So yeah, in terms of distance, this won't have any problems there at all. And UHF is a bit of the unsung hero when it comes to these wireless units. Here's the receiver up close. Now, the cool thing about this is the fact that it's nice and light, but I gotta tell you, it doesn't feel anywhere near the same sort of build quality as the transmitter, being that it's plastic instead of metal, but it's light and it's designed to be clipped onto you, so that's also a bonus if you look at it that way. So in terms of how to open this, to put the batteries in, which are also included, simply push on the sides and it opens up and you can insert two AA batteries, which will last up to 8 continuous hours. One of the really great things about this pack is if you want to upgrade the default earbuds that you get with it, you also get a little connector that can screw in and lock into place. I think that's a really great touch. It's one of those things that I don't see on a lot less expensive in-ear monitoring system, so having that ability to upgrade to a real set or a proper set or a more expensive set of inner-ear monitors, you can absolutely do that. While we do get some earbuds with this particular pack, these aren't noise cancelling. These are more like your old school iPhone headphones. You remember those white ones with the cable? I still use them, by the way. But yeah, these aren't actually noise cancelling by any stretch of the imagination, and they also do not have the actual threading on the other side. Now, while these kind of headphones will definitely do the job and get you by, There's one thing that you've got to remember, these aren't noise cancelling ones at all, so you essentially just have to turn them up loud enough so you can hear them with all the acoustic noise, if there's acoustic noise in the room from the band. I'm looking at this from a band player's perspective or a vocalist's perspective. You want to actually attenuate the noise of the band down and then bring up your vocal in your ear. Having some sort of noise cancellation or dB reduction is almost essential, but if you're just using these at home or you want to just take them out from time to time, they'll get you by. But I really feel like you should get some more professional ones if you are taking it seriously. Now, there's a number of different ways you can run this. You can take a mix out of the front of house mixer, or you can do what I used to do, which makes it very, very easy. You can plug one of your microphones into this for your vocal and set up a room microphone just off stage a little bit so you can hear the band mix, and then just mix it accordingly. And you should get some really great results. That's how I used to run it, so I could still hear what was going on around me and also hear my vocal. That way you're not just hearing your own vocal in the head and not a lot of everything else. Now, the one, I guess, positive of these kind of earbuds is they'll allow a lot more sound in anyway. So you might not have to do that if you're just using these default sort of earbuds that you do get. I gotta say though, it's great to actually have these with them, as many packs don't actually come with anything. All right, so I've just plugged this in. As you can see, the power buttons come on, but the actual unit is in standby mode. If we push this button, it will fire it up. And one of the great things about this is we get up to 24 channels. So if you're using this with another one of these on stage, someone else might be using one, there's plenty of channels to choose from, so you don't get any interference. Let's turn on this. I'm gonna use the front button here to turn it on. You're gonna hold it down, it looks like, yep. And we are active. So I'm gonna grab a microphone, I'm gonna plug in these earbuds, and we're gonna see what kind of sound we get just using a microphone through it. So the way I've got this set up right now is this JTS NX8 microphone is plugged directly into the back in the microphone input of the transmitter, and then that's going to the receiver, which is on my belt, and I'm hearing myself in the earbuds. Now, this was set to stereo when I first got it set up, and all I had to do was go into the menu here and switch it to mono, then both headphones were working. If you want to get a mono down mix, you can do that if you've got a second audio source going straight into the back, or you can have a stereo mix. Now I'm going to explain the difference about that in just a moment, but my first impressions is these earbuds, they're not the best. They're kind of like the Apple earbuds, which are fine, right? They're okay, but they're not up to the standard of, say, the Shure inner ear monitors, but you wouldn't expect that given the price of this is far less. Now, the cool thing about that is you can't hear this, obviously. I'm just listening to it, but it sounds pretty much like you could get away with something like this at a rehearsal or something, but it wouldn't have to be a very loud rehearsal either. I've got this pack cranked, and it feels like the limitation of everything so far are these earbuds. So if you want to do a lot of loud gigs, I would replace these personally with something a bit more high-end that also cancel out the noise, and you'd be laughing. I've said that a few times today, but I really feel like although it's great to get a set of earbuds, they're not very good. So there's a few different ways you can run this, and I'm going to give you some of the trade-offs and pros and cons of both. Now, the way I used to run one of these units is the quick way. I'd plug a microphone into this, I then ran a line out into the PA system, and you can also do the opposite, but the benefit of the way I used to run it was you're not at the mercy of the PA system. It means you've got your own little mix going into your headphones from here, one room microphone pointing towards the band, and one microphone that you're singing in, and there you go. You can hear everything that's going on around you. But the limitation of that, running it that way, is the fact that you won't get any sort of reverbs or delays on your vocal. If you've got a nice front of house mix, it might be in your best interest to go from the mixer into this and then out into your headphones. And if you have that luxury, do it that way. It will sound better, and it will probably also make the actual output volume that little bit louder as well. You'll have a bit more flexibility there getting a signal like that into this as opposed to just a dry microphone getting plugged into it. But the benefit of this unit is you can do both, which is really cool. One of the questions you might have is how does something like this stack up to, say, one of those little X5 monitoring systems? I would take this in a heartbeat for two reasons. One, there was no master volume limit on the X5, which means you can do yourself some serious hearing damage, which defeats the purpose of this. The second reason is this doesn't have any built-in batteries. This means it's much better if the batteries go flat, you can recharge them or replace them. Nice and simple. I'm not a big fan of any unit that has a built-in battery that you can't take out. I think that's basically making things more disposable long term. Something like this with a set of upgraded earbuds would last you probably a very long time. Just judging by the actual build quality of this thing, it's built like an absolute tank. All the connectors and everything feel really good. And being that it's UHF, you're not going to experience the same issues you might have seen on some of my X5 reviews. I'll leave some links in the cards and you can check that out, where if someone comes in between the signal, it basically cuts out. So UHF is going to be more reliable in certain situations, having it up to 60 meters, which is really fantastic as well. So overall, I think the build quality of the actual transmitter is unreal. I love the fact you get all the cables and so forth that you would need to get this working in either scenario. So from a mixer into this, or just directly into this and then out, and you get your headphones and all that as well. The one thing you don't get is a microphone cable. Just make sure you've got your own one of those and you'll be laughing. But you get everything else that you could possibly need for any situation, going out of a mixer, out of a PA system, or whatever. So that's great. I also love the fact on the back, these double as input jack connectors, as well as microphone connectors, as well as these outputs. So it's very functional, very usable. My biggest criticism is the audio quality of the earbuds. I'm sure if I replaced them with anything else, it would sound a lot better. So I'll leave some links down below through to Artist Guitars so you can check these out. A massive thanks to the guys for sending them out. I really appreciate it. What I'm going to try and do, maybe on the next live jam we do, is to take this with me and see how it works in the context of a live mix, because that's where it all comes down to. How well does it work in that scenario? I love the fact we get up to 8 hours battery life as well, so that's more than enough time. Even if I forget to turn it off mid, during the set breaks, we still get lots and lots of usable time there, so that's pretty cool. Thanks again for watching. My name's Shane. If you have any comments or questions, leave below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks again. Catch you soon. See ya.